When I ask this horse to lope, I want him to lope where I point him, and I want him to stay going in that direction and at that speed until I tell him to do something different. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I do to fix a horse if it goes off in a different direction, falls to the inside. That's a pretty common problem. Looks to the outside or speeds up. That's all common problems that people have when they're loping horses, and we're going to cover some of those. One of the things that I need when I'm showing a horse in reining is I need that circle to be willingly guided with little or no apparent resistance. Anytime the horse deviates from what I asked it to do, that is seen as resistance. So I need there to not be any apparent resistance, any deviation from what I asked. His head just went up, he looked. Let's talk about looking to the outside first. That's something this horse does a lot of. We're going to talk about how I handle that. He's generally going to look to the outside over there where those barrels are on the outside. I am not going to reach down and pull his head to the inside because I need to be able to fix that one-handed. He's a bridle horse. We show one-handed. I need to be able to fix it one-handed. If I have to DQ to fix it, we're not going to be very successful. So what I'm going to do instead, if he's looking to the outside, I'll pick my hand up and out and put inside leg to get bend. Instead of bringing his head in, I'm going to push his middle out. So he's looking at the barrels, push his middle out. Then get soft. I got soft, he sped up a little bit. I'm going to bridle him up. If I put my hand down and he speeds up, I'm not going to pull back to fix that. If I pull back to fix it like that and then push my hand forward, he's just going to speed up. What I want to do is round him up, bridle him up, pick up his back, shorten his stride. That is where the horse, that is why the horse speeds up. And looking to the outside, I will push the middle out again. That is why a horse speeds up. They fall out of frame, get on the front end and start scrambling because they're not balanced. So instead of pulling him back to slow down, which doesn't actually fix the balance problem that created the speed up, I'm going to round him, fix the balance, and that in turn will fix the speed problem. Because of how the cues that I've developed to fix all this, when he does look to the outside or when he does speed up, I have these cues so refined that you barely see that I'm doing them when I'm showing. And that way, it doesn't negatively affect my score. We show in cow horse, so they want to see a horse that's alert and aware of what's going on around them, but it still needs to be willingly guided. That's where there's a big difference between cow horses and reining horses. Reining horses, you want less expression. Cow horse, you want that expression because it takes that expression to move the cow. Cow horse is an offensive cow event as opposed to cutting, which is a defensive cow event. In cutting, you're on defense, you're stopping the cow from going back to the herd. In cow horse, you're on offense, you're putting the cow someplace. Now, as we lope around, I'm not going to micromanage him too much. I'll let him look a little bit, because if I don't let him look at all, then I'm going to be constantly pulling on his face. I don't mind if he looks, but he needs to maintain his frame, and he needs to maintain our speed and direction. Let's go through the middle, and we're going to change directions. Now, in the left lead, we'll load some left circles. Now we're in the left lead. That means he needs to support his shoulder here, needs to engage the back end. This is using the muscles on his left shoulder and right hip. If he was falling to the inside in our circle, he's pretty good about not doing that. He's a fairly strong horse. If he was falling to the inside, that would mean that this shoulder was weak. And in that case, what I would do was pick him up and leg yield him over to raise this shoulder. That would mean that this shoulder was falling out of frame. I'll show you that again. Come around, left rein, left leg, leg yield over. It takes two parts for a horse to lope correctly. Shoulder has to come up and reach, hips have to engage in the back end. So if there is an issue, I am going to address whichever part of that is the issue. What I see most often is the horse is weak in the front end and not keeping that inside shoulder up. It's the most common problem. The shoulder does pulling and the back end kind of follows behind. Kind of follows behind, doesn't really push. I want the shoulders up, I want the back end pushing. To get the back end to push better, what I will do is I will lift the inside shoulder, slide my outside leg back, pushing the hip, and engage that hip. That pushes the hip in, engages the hip. And see, I'm holding his shoulder up at the same time with my rein and my left leg. That is what makes the horse strong enough that he can support himself in the lope. If your horse isn't wanting to stay maintaining speed and direction, he's not supporting himself. You need to strengthen the shoulders or you need to strengthen the hip. So this is Hank that I'm on. He shows reining and working cow horse and getting him, making sure he stays fit. Whoa. So we can take him to a show coming up pretty soon. So I'll put a link up here to some of the other videos that I've done with him. Until next time, thank you for watching.